Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will flip the coin and see who actually tarnished their so-called name and word.
Guti. Well, welcome to both of you. Alan Dershowitz, your response there to Dr. West, in particular, his categorization of Aaron Bushnell as a martyr for setting himself on fire and taking his own life in protest of what he said was the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza.
If anybody is going to be a martyr, they should take their lives in protest of Hamas using precious children as human shields, using a child as a human shield, putting a child, a hospital, a school, a mosque, over Hamas fighters and tunnels and other weapons that are used to kill precious Jewish children is the major reason why so many civilians, particularly so many children and women, have been killed. By the way, there is a lower ratio of civilians to combatants that have been killed in Gaza than in any modern warfare, according to even the Hamas statistics. And if you compare them to the number of people, combatants who have been killed, the ratio is approximately 1.5 to 1, which is much lower than the 3 or 4 to 1. And, you know, the idea that Israel is committing genocide when it has actually done everything in its power to minimize civilian casualties in the face of Hamas doing everything in its power to maximize civilian casualties, Israel should do more, and the United States should pressure Israel to do more. And Israel has done more. The number of civilians killed in the last month is far less than in previous months because Israel is now in a position where it can take more refined action, more specific actions.
All right, guys, let's be clear on that. Even if we are taking the statistics of the Hamas terrorists, the ratio is still not as high as it was in any other modern war. And we are still getting this ratio under circumstances when Hamas rats are hiding under the ground, under the houses, under the hospitals. What kind of genocide is that?
In response to Alan Dershowitz, there's a real debate raging about whether what is happening in Gaza constitutes genocide. What is your view?
Well, I am not surprised at all, Mr. Morgan, that Mr. Dershowitz, your guest, is defending the murderous Israeli army because he's famous for defending murderers in American courts. I think he's used to that. He's even famous for defending sex traffickers like Epstein. And of course he will defend those who are committing genocide.
Can we get to the point instead of having ad hominems about
Mr. Barghouti, I have to say, lawyers defend people who they often may personally have serious issues with. There's nothing unusual about a lawyer.
If you don't want me to speak, can you shut up so that I can speak?
This guy, instead of answering the question, is insulting the other guest, the intellectual pro-Palestinian giant.
Speak. Shut up, please. I want to say that what you see in Gaza now is an act of genocide because 12,000 children have been killed. And these are not 19 years old. These are 5, 6 years old and 3 years old and 2 years old. These are children, for God's sake. I am against the killing of 30 Israeli children, which happened on the 7th of October, because they are children and civilians. But nothing in the world could justify, because of the killing of 30 children, the killing of 12,000 other Palestinian children. That is unacceptable. You should look at the real figures. 30,000 Palestinian civilians have been killed, and 72,000 people have been injured.
Here we go. Now suddenly 30,000 civilians are killed. What a liar.
This is 4.5% of the population. Hold on. I did not interrupt you, so shut up and let me finish. 4.5% of the population of Gaza have been killed or injured. If that had happened in the United States of America, you would be talking about 12 million people killed or injured in 4 months of time. Is that acceptable? And mostly civilians, 70% are civilians. More than that, Israel is killing Palestinians not only with this terrible genocide, with their bombardment, they are killing Palestinians with starvation. This terrible siege, 50,000 pregnant women, Palestinian women, don't find a place to give birth in. 64,000 breastfeeding women cannot help their babies. And more than that, 700,000 people are now starving because Israel is preventing milk, flour, food to the population of Gaza City and the north of Gaza. And more than that, they shoot the Palestinian hungry people when they are trying to get some food.
Okay, Mr.
They shoot
Barghouti,
them
let
and
me ask
kill
you,
them like they did 2 days ago.
Mr. Barghouti,
by
let me ask you a question.
100 people and 860 others were injured. So my response to you, yes, this is genocide. These are 3 war crimes happening at the same time. Genocide, collective punishment, and ethnic cleansing. At the same time, 70% of all homes were destroyed. All universities were destroyed. 30 hospitals out of 36 hospitals were destroyed. 347 of my colleagues, medical doctors,
right, Mr. Barghouti, let me just Alan Dershowitz. Let me just.
Mr. Barghouti forgot to mention under how many schools, houses, buildings we have seen tunnels. Of course, Mr. Barghouti forgot to mention that. Suddenly, this all is IDF's fault.
It is not genocide.
Alan Dershowitz, you want to also mention again Kamala Harris calling for a 6-week ceasefire. This is what is being negotiated. But Hamas can't even apparently say where the remaining hostages are, which seems to be a massive barrier to any potential deal here. So, first of all, your reaction to that, and then respond to Mr. Barghouti.
Well, I think the deal is on the table. Israel has accepted it. The Hamas has refused to give the names of the hostages, and if they would give the names of the hostages, we could have a deal.
And now for pro-Palestinians who will be screaming that IDF doesn't want a ceasefire. IDF offers that, wants something back. The names of hostages who are still alive. Is this a lot? And of course, again, we will blame IDF.
Deal. I want to ask Mr. Barghouti if he wants to talk about another war crime. Are you prepared now to condemn Hamas for using children as human shields, for using women as human shields? Are you prepared now to condemn that war crime?
This is a lie.
They don't. You deny
it's a lie. It's
everybody in the world is wrong.
They don't hide behind children.
It's not true. They don't use any human shields.
It's a lie. You are repeating. I don't. You ask me, I will answer you. You don't want me to answer your question?
It's a lie. There's no human shield. They never use the human shield, ever, huh?
No, it's a lie because it is, let me answer. It is an Israeli propaganda. And if you look carefully, and you are a famous and well-known lawyer, I don't doubt that. But I want you to look at the facts. For me, Anna Frank, the little Jewish child who was killed by Nazis, is not different from Hind Rajab, who is a Palestinian child, 6 years old, who was stuck in a car with 6 of her family members killed by the Israeli tanks, screaming and asking for help. And instead of helping her, they bombarded the ambulance that came to help her and killed her.
You're not answering the question. Do they use human shields or not?
Anna Frank and Hind Rajab are the same. No. What human shield? She was in a car surrounded by tanks.
I'm not talking about
and the
her.
Israelis killed
I'm talking about
For me, she's a victim
of children
of same Nazi behavior
I'm not
that killed
disputing that.
Anna
You're
Frank.
changing the subject.
You should start to see
You're
us.
changing the subject.
Here is my favorite part of this debate. This is wild. I'll remind you that question was, is Hamas using a people as human shields?
Mr. Barghouti, you say that Hamas never used civilians as human shields. In which case, why do they build this labyrinth of tunnels around schools and hospitals and all the places where civilians are going to be?
This is the nail of the evening, guys.
Why would they do that?
No, the question is not like that. The question is why Israel continued to put Gaza, which is only... Wait.
Let me ask the question again. If Hamas does not want to use civilians as human shields, why do they build tunnels around schools and hospitals?
First of all, you are again, Mr. Morgan, you are again repeating Israeli propaganda.
It's not propaganda. We've seen the footage.
That hospitals were built, that tunnels were under hospitals. Wait, let me finish. You asked the question, let me answer. It's not true what they say. And yes, they built tunnels to hide from Israeli airstrikes, of course, like Vietnamese built tunnels to hide from American bombardment in Vietnam. It's the same.
Just a last comment on that. Vietnamese indeed built tunnels for their own people, for their own citizens, so they can hide from American bombardment. What Hamas is doing, they are building, and they did build the tunnels, to hide themselves. Do they let inside Palestinians to hide? Of course no. What are you talking about, Mr. Barghouti?